There comes a moment when you realize you've done everything you know how to do. You've tried to fix it and you try to understand it. You try to hold it all together, and yet nothing changes. That's the moment when surrender stops being an idea and becomes a necessity. Surrender is often misunderstood. It's not dramatic and it's not loud, and it rarely happens all at once. More often, it shows up in quiet moments when you're lying awake at night, replaying every possibility and wondering if there's something you missed. You want peace, but letting go feels risky because holding on at least gives the illusion that you're still in control. So you stay in that tension, not because you lack faith, but because what you're holding on to feels too important to release. Here's what many people don't realize. Surrender is not about losing something. It's about placing it where it can finally be carried. When you surrender to God, you are not abandoning responsibility. You are entrusting the outcome to someone who sees beyond your limited perspective. Surrender is less about an external action and more about an internal decision, a quiet yes in the heart that says, I trust you with what I cannot control. A powerful picture of this kind of surrender is found in the life of Abraham. After waiting years for the promised son, Isaac, Abraham was asked to place that very promise on the altar. This was not about loss, it was about trust. Abraham's willingness to surrender demonstrated that his faith rested not in the promise itself, but in the character of God. At the last moment, God provided a ram in Isaac's place, revealing a profound truth. What we place in God's hands is never truly lost. Surrender often becomes most real in the deeply personal areas of life. It might be the future you carefully planned that now looks completely different. It might be in the relationship you hoped would have lasted, but it didn't. It might be a prayer you've whispered for years that still feels unanswered. These are the places where surrender feels impossible because they touch the deepest parts of the heart. Yet it is precisely here that surrender becomes transformative. Sometimes it sounds like a simple prayer. God, I release this to you, not because it doesn't matter, but because it matters so much that I trust you to handle it. Letting go is difficult because control feels safer than uncertainty. We are often believed that if we hold on tightly enough, that we can protect ourselves from disappointment or pain. But control is exhausting. It keeps us trapped in cycles of fear and overthinking. Surrender, on the other hand, creates space for peace. Peace doesn't come from knowing the outcome. It comes from trusting the one who holds the outcome. True surrender is not a single moment. It is a posture of the heart lived out daily. It looks like releasing the need to have all the answers, choosing faith over fear when uncertainty arises, accepting that God's timing may differ from your own, continuing forward with quiet confidence even without clarity. Surrender is not passive resignation, it is active trust. If letting go feels impossible, here are gentle steps to begin. First, identify what you're holding. Name the situation, fear, or expectation you are struggling to release. Second, acknowledge the emotion. Recognize the significance of what you're surrendering without minimizing it. Third, Verbally release it. Speak it in prayer. God, I place this in your hands. Fourth, accept uncertainty. Truth not requiring immediately answers. Finally, reaffirm the decision daily. Surrender is often renewed each day as new fears arise. If you find yourself wrestling with surrender, know that this struggle is not a sign of weak faith. It is evidence of a heart that deeply cares. God does not demand perfection in surrender. He invites willingness. Even in the smallest steps, being released creates room for His peace to enter. What feels like an ending may actually be the beginning of something greater than you could have ever imagined. So if you're holding on tightly today, if fear has made it difficult to let go, if surrender feels just out of reach, pause for a moment. Take a slow breath. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. You don't have to force an outcome. You are free to place it in the hands that are far more capable than your own. And if that is in a quiet release, you discover the peace you've been searching for all along. Even now, you are being gently invited to come home.